Did you know who the world's biggest victim of hacking is, according to Chinese authorities? It's China, which is why China is hitting back against Australia for claiming China was behind a recent cyber attack on Australian political parties. It's just like Huawei, a victim of Western powers. What's that, Shelley? Oh, Australia's cybersecurity chief actually said they weren't sure which country was behind it. Ah, I see. Australia merely said some unknown country hacked us, and China's response was, well, we didn't do it. How dare you accuse us? We get hacked all the time. You're crazy. Well, that sounds like a very normal and completely not guilty reaction. Speaking of above-board Chinese technology, a Chinese tech company called SenseNets apparently left sensitive personal information of its clients in an open database that could be accessed by anyone. Now, normally, that's an unbelievably stupid lapse in data security. But in this case, it turned out to be partly a good thing. Why? Well, the clients in SenseNet's database were actually the Uyghur people of Xinjiang. And the leak showed that the Chinese Communist Party has been keeping very close tabs on them. The records tracked everything from a person's ID number, birthday, address, ethnicity, employer, as well as updated GPS coordinates that could tell if, for instance, the particular person was visiting a mosque. As one online security expert put it, who in their right minds runs a database which is completely open and gives any visitors full administrative rights, so then those database records can be manipulated by anyone with an internet connection? No wonder China is the world's biggest victim of hacking.
A Chinese database was discovered online that listed personal information of 1.8 million women, including a, quote, breed-ready status. The database was discovered by Victor Gavers, a Dutchman who works for GDI.foundation, a nonprofit. In the database, Gavers found listed the names of Chinese women, their ages, and marital status, among other categories. When analyzing the list, Gavers said the average age of the women was 32 years old, while the youngest listed was only 15. Roughly 80% of the 1.8 million million women appeared to live near China's capital, Beijing. China ended its one-child family planning policy in 2015 and is facing a declining population, which has been called an official problem by the country's government. Shortly after Gavers posted a screenshot that showed the so-called breed-ready status for the women, the database was taken offline. Gavers told Time that he does not know the owner of the database, and as far as the term breed-ready, Gavers said, quote, "To be honest, I hope it was just poor English of the developer." Gavers said he would continue to dig, adding that he would be attempting to contact some of the women on the list to see if they had signed up for something. When China's social network Weibo heard about the situation, some called it a, quote, real-life Handmaid's Tale.
Just like in the rest of the world, messaging apps are part of everyday life in China. But an application like WeChat does more than just letting you text your friends. It's an operating system for your entire life. Paying for groceries, sending your mom a photo, and even ordering takeout all live in this app. Surviving in China is almost impossible without it, which is why the app recently broke 1 billion users. But like the rest of the internet in China, chat apps are subject to strict censorship. Certain politically sensitive phrases or pictures shared in private messages are known to be censored and blocked. But how well these messaging services are protecting a user's data in China is being questioned after a leak of 340 million private chat records in March. Victor Gevers is a security researcher at the GDI.foundation, a non-profit organization that finds and reports open and unsecured databases on the internet. If data is the new oil, what the researchers found was an open oil field. The records, using data pulled from different private companies in China, contained everything about a person's digital life. Private everyday messages in the database were linked to ID cards and even GPS locations. The source of this database tracking millions of people's private messages in China is unknown, but it was walled off just hours after it was reported to the state-owned internet company, China Telecom. The leak, one of the biggest ever reported in China, is just the latest in a series of leaks exposing everything from the tracking of millions of people in Xinjiang to hotel guest data. China's cybersecurity law, passed in 2017, is supposed to hold companies accountable for data security, but it doesn't stop the government from gaining access to that personal data. China's government has sweeping authority to monitor its citizens, and Chinese companies are not known to challenge orders to give up customer data to the authorities. Beijing's powers of surveillance were solidified by a 2017 national intelligence law, which says that all companies in China must support China's intelligence gathering efforts. A history of data leaks and cooperation with Chinese intelligence are some of the reasons that Chinese firms like Huawei are looked upon with suspicion by the US and other governments, even though they have denied that the law forces them to install backdoors for Chinese intelligence services. But expansive surveillance is just part of China's approach to controlling the internet that experts say is being exported to other parts of the world. China's President Xi Jinping calls the idea of its walled internet cyber sovereignty, and he has personally promoted at internet conferences attended by American tech executives like Apple's Tim Cook. Governments around the world have been working to tighten their control of the internet. Moscow just announced plans to create its own separate internet, similar to the digital world China keeps inside its Great Firewall. Thousands of people protested it as a form of tightening political control, showing that China's version of the internet's future isn't welcomed by everyone.